Everybody sounds pretty good, by the way.
Excellent.
That's really good to know because I'm recording on my new laptop.
You got two people recording with Chromebooks. I don't know if Malik uses his Chromebook.
No, not
That
yet.
would make it
I'm
three.
using my laptop.
All right, so it's two Chromebooks.
All right. I'm ready to go. All right, let's go.
Let's do it. Let's
Make the magic happen.
What's up, everybody, and welcome once again to the Agents of Helm podcast. I'm Malik, and I'll be your moderator on today's episode. You got an hour? Well, sit back, relax, and let us give you some high-form entertainment. Welcome to episode 49, The Crossover. Well, before we get started with today's agenda, I want to introduce my fellow agents tonight. First up, we have the ever-delightful, yet curse you with a smile on her face, apocalyptic princess Johanna.
I want a tiara that says apocalyptic princess on it. Hey!
Next, we have Lorenzo, our resident fast talker from the Lone Star State, home of the Alamo and Six Flags Great Adventure. Lorenzo, say hi to the people.
How y'all doing?
And lastly, we have our fearless leader, the man with the plan. If Tarantino is Batman and Rodriguez is Robin, our guy would love to be the Alfred of the trio. Ladies and gentlemen, Joe.
What's up? Why I gotta be Alfred?
Because that's what you would be. You can't be anything other than them. You can't be their Joker. Look, if Tarantino and Rodriguez asked you to tag along with them and run their errands, tell me you wouldn't do it.
Yeah, I'd do it.
Thank you very much. So today's episode hit me a little earlier this week. We got a couple of this week I started thinking about it, but last week we got a really, really interesting dynamic that played out on television. So we took two characters, the Arrow and the Flash, and CW and Warner Brothers did a really, really interesting job of taking both of these characters and meshing them together in a two-part episode that kind of brought the two characters and gave them each a storyline in their own world, and brought them together and brought their world together, brought their people together, and everything like that. So I kind of thought about that from the perspective of, how many other times have we seen these crossover events or crossover films, and what we think about them? What are the agents thinking about those? So in entertainment, the crossover event is often considered one of the most anticipated and overhyped moments. Some turn out to be really great surprises, cameos that you didn't expect, things like that, while others may have simply just not lived up to their billing. So for part one, I wanted the agents to talk crossover movies and events. I want you guys to think of some crossover events in television, film, and music, and let's start spitballing it. So it's kind of free form, but I'll start it out with Joe. Give me some examples of some of the crossover events you can think of.
Off the top of my head, obviously, I'm looking at the list here that you provided, Malik. Let's be honest. Let's full disclosure. I'm looking here, and I'm thinking, the Freddy versus Jason. I think that was highly anticipated, but I think I was kind of let down by that one, by Freddy versus Jason. I thought it was going to be much better than what it was, but very excited to see it though. The Avengers is the other one. After we got the build-up from Phase 1, or the completion of Phase 1 being the Avengers, after we got the build-up with all the solo films and finally seeing them together, that was fantastic as well. You felt like you were waiting years for it to happen, and then when it did, the payoff was just so great. I mean, it was fantastic when it finally was all finished.
Yeah.
And now we're looking forward to the end of what I guess is going to be Phase 2, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Lorenzo, what about you?
I don't know. I was thinking of some crossovers. I think of television when I think of crossovers because I guess that was the first time I really found out what a crossover was. I used to watch a lot of TV as a kid, so ones that I remember. I used to watch I Love Lucy all the time. I don't know if that show is really I don't know. Have you guys seen a bunch of I Love Lucy or?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, everybody loves Lucy.
Mm-hmm.
There was and so when I was a kid, I remember I used to come home and I Love Lucy. Well, no, not I Love Lucy. Superman and Batman would be on TV, like the old ones from the '60s.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was a big fan of what's that guy's name? George Reeves?
George
John
Reeves,
Reeves?
yep.
George
George
Reeves.
Reeves.
Yeah, he that was like the first. I think that was man, that might have been my first Superman that I knew about even before Christopher Reeves. I don't know if that's true though. But anyway, so then he came on. I Love Lucy one time. I Lucy was trying to get there was a competition to get the best birthday party because little Ricky was having a birthday, and then his friend was also having a birthday. So Lucy always she wanting to use her connection to showbiz, being of course Ricky, sees if she tries to get Ricky to get Superman, and it's actually Superman. You're never really totally sure, but everybody calls him Superman, so it's not really. It could be George Reeves, but it really seems like she gets Superman, and so then she isn't able to get him. So then she dresses up like Superman, and tries to pull one over on the kids, I guess. And then she gets busted by Superman because he ends up coming on the show. I don't know. I thought that was really funny. I think what's his name from the Marx Brothers? The one that doesn't talk.
Oh yeah, the one that was quiet.
Harpo.
Yeah.
No, is it Harpo? He was on the show. He was on I Love Lucy too, and I remember that episode was really good. And then there was like some infamous ones like Simpsons and the Critic. Do you remember?
Oh
Forgot about
yeah.
that one. That's
That
right.
one?
Jay the Critic.
Yeah, and then I was actually looking this up, and I didn't know this, so I was thinking Johanna might know this one. The last episode of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air had the Jeffersons in it, and I think the Drummonds too.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
Did it really?
Yeah.
yeah,
Apparently they're selling their house at the end, and
yeah, right.
Mr. Drummond is one of the people that goes to buy the house or goes to look at the home.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, and the Jeffersons
And-
end up actually buying the house. Yeah, and I don't know. I've always loved George Jefferson. He's always cracked me up. And so he's been. I guess he was. That show is actually a spin-off of All in the Family, and so I used to like the interactions between those guys, George Jefferson and what's his name, Carol
O'Connor.
O'Connor. Yeah, I always thought that because they're both like racist in their own ways, and I don't know. It was a time when television could actually get away with that stuff. It's funny how like in a lot of ways we think of ourselves as being more liberal now, but in a lot of ways, like there's stuff on television you just can't get away with anymore. And the interactions that they had would count as that. And then the other day, I was watching The Muppet Show for some reason. I don't know why, but uh, Luke was on it, and C3PO and R2D2, and I think Chewbacca was on it too. So they had a crossover where those guys came on as guests. Because on the Muppet Show they would have guests every week, and so that week they had a bunch of people from Star Wars, and so that was that was pretty cool. That brought back memories because I used to watch that show when I was a kid too. Yeah, so all of those came into my mind when we talked about crossovers. It was all television stuff. So like another one was Mork and Mindy. They were a spin-off of Happy Days, and so when Mork and Mindy had its first episode, I used to love Mork and Mindy, and when it had its first episode, it was it was the Fonz, I think, that ends up like greeting Mork, and he ends up for some reason he ends up going on a date with Laverne from Laverne and Shirley, and so yeah, it was crazy how it worked out, but yeah, that was so. I guess what I'm saying is that television and crossovers seem to go in my mind hand in hand. Another one is the Love Boat, the Love Boat and Fantasy Island. That was pretty epic back in the 80s when that happened.
That was a very big deal. If you went from the Love Boat to Fantasy Island, that was a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of like what I mean by like these crossover events. Like they become so big, in terms of just, if I could just see this group or these people interact with those people and bring the two worlds together, like it makes it just an epic idea. that
Yeah, sometimes it
sometimes
really
clash.
works.
Yeah, that sometimes it really, really works well, and sometimes it's
Sometimes it doesn't. Simpsons
not
and
so much.
and the Critic is an example of that. And but I love seeing Fonz and Mork interact. It's just those two are hilarious because Fonz plays it so straight, and Mork is so not straight.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So Johanna, I know you have a couple in the music genre that you said you wanted to touch on some crossovers where some crossover events that have happened in music.
There are just so many. I think one of the first people who comes to mind is Freddie Mercury, who collaborated with like opera singers and all sorts of things. And um, actually, I'm really excited, but I should probably tamp down my excitement. A collaboration that he did with Michael Jackson is supposed to be released real soon. So part of me is like, yeah, and the other part is don't get excited. Don't get excited about this. Um, but yeah, and I also think a lot when I think about crossovers. I think about Latin or Spanish-speaking artists who cross over into English. So we've got Selena, who only did that after she died, which is kind of sad. Like she was on the verge of starting an English language career because she didn't speak Spanish. She didn't know Spanish. She was, she was born in Texas, and she was a third generation Mexican immigrant, and she didn't speak English. So I think she learned everything phonetically or something crazy like that. So for her, it felt natural to start an English language music career. It didn't quite happen. And then we've got our Enrique Iglesias. Enrique Iglesias is the son of Julio Iglesias. And you're kind of like, you're not going to last. And then 3 years later, you're like, okay, you've had your run. You're not going to last. And there he is. He just did a song with Don Omar. So he's still around somewhere. Mark Anthony, not a fan of his new stuff. We've all had the Mark Anthony discussion. We do not have to have it again about his personal afflictions. There's a ton I can think of. What's also very interesting is the opposite is happening. You see English language artists trying to break into the Latino market. So Romeo Santos, who used to be part of Aventura, you guys know Romeo, right?
Fortunately.
I know that Romeo is Joe's favorite
Yeah.
Latin artist.
I saw him at a Target once.
You did? Sorry. Sorry, I almost
She almost fell out of her seat.
And he sold out. He sold out Yankee Stadium, which
twice.
yeah, which I was actually kind of surprised about because I didn't know who he was at the
Well,
time.
I'm not surprised about it. I expect them to sell out Yankee Stadium.
Well, that's
For what reason would that be, Joe?
There's a lot of Dominicans in that area.
I mean, it's not even just the Dominicans, though.
I know, but I'm just saying that the people that are going to listen to it are in that area, and there's more than 50,000 of them. So,
I mean, at this point, though, it's like, I mean, I went to I went to Randall's Island earlier in the summer, and it was a whole bunch of Central Americans watching soccer, and they're all playing bachata. They're all playing Romeo. Like the whole album was played. So he's had crossover appeal everywhere, and his latest album, because I don't believe he's attempted an English language crossover, but he has people like Drake on his album. He has Nicki Minaj on his album. He has all of these artists who are starting to realize how big the market is. I mean, it's a big market. Like Madison Square Garden's profits now are coming from putting on these gigantic Spanish language festivals with famous. I mean, last year I really wanted to go see. I'm really into Juan Luis Guerra. He's like an old school Dominican guy. And there were all these other guys like Juanes and Maná who were going to play. I'm like, cool. And my mom's like, I want to go too. I was like, okay. I'm like, it's at Madison Square Garden. start looking up tickets, and it's like $125, $150 for like 300 level seats. And I tell my mom, I'm like, listen, like, these are really expensive tickets. She's like, how much? I was like, it's like 125. And she's like, I paid twice that much to go see the Valentine's Day like show they had at Madison. So they're making tons of money off the Latino market. In conclusion, I'm sorry I went over. You're starting to, I'm trying to say is you're starting to see more English language artists crossover because of how huge the market is, the Latino market. Like they're the ones, buying tickets and buying real CDs and stuff.
Yeah, because they're extremely loyal to their to the people who they love.
Yes.
Yeah. Fans in other genres tend to be pretty fickle, to say the least. So I actually have a question for you with regards to this. Like when these artists cross over, do you get the sense that it's a bigger event for the English on the English side, or is it a bigger event on the Latino side? By seeing their artists that they've been listening to do these Spanish albums for so long now break into this mainstream. Like, do they appreciate it? Do they like it? Do they not like it? Like, what's your vibe from that?
I mean, that's exactly the thing too, is that a lot of the people who are listening to this music speak English. They speak it. They might speak Spanish at home like I did when I was growing up, but they're out in the world and they're speaking English. And even the people for whom English is their first language, and it's like 80%, like they're speaking English at work. So they're buying those albums too. I think that it is very exciting because breaking into the English language market is still seen as being like super prestigious and a huge deal. Like Selena's English album, even though she was dead, sold a hell of a lot, and probably would have even if she hadn't died, because she was popular. Like I had students who were born like 5 years after she died, who were from the Dominican Republic, from Mexico, from all these different parts of Latin America, and they all knew Selena, and they all knew all of her songs, and they knew all of her albums. So, well, yeah, when you're talking about, like, brand loyal, like, yeah, Latinos are.
They stick it out. They stick it out no matter what. The good or the bad. That's awesome. Lorenzo, you were talking a little bit earlier about we were talking a little bit earlier about some of these events not living up to their billing and not making that impact that we expected them to. Can you think of some of the most disappointing crossover television shows that you've seen? I mean, I know you talked about some of the more entertaining ones like I Love Lucy and everything like that. What about some ones that you really thought bombed?
Well, I mentioned Simpsons and The Critic. I thought that's one of the ones that's like one of the famous not good ones. Uh, Another one that's similar is the Flintstones and the Jetsons.
That
Oh,
was
yeah, I remember
They
that.
did a movie. That was like a
Yeah.
animated movie, wasn't it?
I was so excited about that. And I was disappointed. I don't know. It didn't live up to whatever standards I had when that movie came out.
Now,
That was
if I remember correctly, now was that the one? Did the Jetsons go back to the Flintstones age, or did the Flintstones come up?
both. There was like that was a serious crossover because it was the Flints. Fred came to the future, and I think George came to the past. Yeah, and they had I think George had bonded with Dino, if I remember correctly. And then and it's kind of funny because the Flintstones had kind of in their own way they were kind of high tech. They they had like pretty cool technology back then, if you remember. Like they had cameras and they had remote controls and they had showers and it was all animals though. So, like,
Exactly. They had dishwashers and yeah, exactly.
I remember they had like a little for the camera there was a little bird in the camera and he would like be I don't know I think it was a bird and he would be like etching the picture like and he had like a little French beret on and he's all tapping it out. So it actually, I mean, it kind of made sense, but it didn't. It was it was ridiculous, and I don't know. I didn't buy it, and I didn't think it was that funny. there was something kind of cynical about it that I don't know. It was just disappointing. And then another thing that was, well, I wasn't actually, I don't know if I was actually looking forward to it or not, but I was really looking forward to the second Teenage Ninja Mutant Turtle movie. I really liked the first one, and so I was really looking forward to the second one. And Vanilla Ice was in it, and
Ninja,
and I
ninja,
hate,
rap.
and
God.
I think that really sealed the deal on how bad he was because I'll admit that that was the first one of the I got two CDs for Christmas whenever I got a CD player and I got LL Cool J, Mama Said Knock You Out, and I got Vanilla Ice. and, I, and, I,
Oh.
and I played the crap out of that CD for like a week, and then I started to realize, oh, this isn't really that good, because like LL's album I listened to for like years because I really liked a bunch of songs on that one. But yeah, Vanilla Ice's didn't have that kind of shelf life. And then when I saw him on Teenage Ninja Mutant Turtles, it was just like, oh, forget
Have you seen the Honest trailer for that? For the movie?
it. No, I haven't seen it.
You really need to see it. Like, just
Okay.
type Honest trailer Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2.
I'll check it out.
It's hilarious. Hilarious.
I've tried to avoid that movie at all costs, and it's funny because probably the funniest part of that movie is the ninja rap crap. It's horrible. The entire movie is horrible to me, but the ninja rap stuff actually makes me laugh every time I see it.
Ninja,
And I don't know
ninja.
if that was the
rap.
intention.
And it's funny because the absolute best scene in the new Teenage Ninja Mutant Turtles, hands down, is when they're in the elevator.
Yes.
Absolutely the best scene in that movie.
Well, that's probably better than any Vanilla Ice song anyway.
Yeah.
That scene in the elevator. So Joe, what about you as far as disappointing crossover movie events?
Well, I'm gonna go with the TV crossover event.
Okay.
Remember when as a kid I was watching, used to watch the Batman series all the time, and the Green Hornet and Kato were gonna be on, right? They were gonna guest star on Batman. Obviously, they had their own series on at the same time, so obviously trying to promote it. But Kato was played by Bruce Lee, and I just love Bruce Lee. As a kid, I loved Bruce Lee, and he was gonna be on Batman, and I'm like, cool. Now I'm gonna see Bruce Lee kick some ass, and that's not what happened. He basically came to a stalemate with Robin, and I'm like, that would never ever. I'm like a little kid. I'm like, that never would happen. That's never
It's
gonna
so
happen.
frustrating for Bruce Lee, right? Like
Yeah, I mean, I was
Dick
like,
Grayson. No.
yeah, that would never happen. Bruce Lee would take him out in like a few seconds. It would be done, and then he'd go take care of Batman.
What's
And
his
Green
name?
Hornet,
Adam Ward? Is that his name?
Burt Ward.
Burt
Burt
Ward, and
Ward.
Adam West.
I always thought it was funny that his last name was Ward.
Yeah, and he played a Ward, right?
He was a Ward.
But yeah, I was very disappointed. I thought Bruce Lee was going to be on there kicking some ass and taking names, and it
Yeah,
just
that's a good
didn't
call.
happen. It was like him and Robin came to a stalemate. Robin pretty much ran around the table avoiding Bruce Lee, avoiding Kato.
Just
And-
smart.
Yeah, and then they just kind of stopped, and then they became friends and decided to work together to solve this case on Batman. So
Yeah, good call,
Um,
Joe. I
I
remember
was
that one.
really disappointed in that. Although I did love Batman the series, I loved it. But that episode, I wanted to see, Kato kick some ass, and that just didn't happen.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Joe, before you move on, wasn't there something built into there where he was supposed to lose and he didn't want to, or something like that?
Yeah, so Bruce Lee demanded, said, "There's no way, I'm not losing on camera to this to Robin." So there was, so they already had that in place. So
Yeah.
the best solution was to make it a tie, and that's what happened. And if any of you have ever seen, I know Lorenzo obviously has seen it, but I watched it not too long ago, and like Robin just runs around the table like they both on opposite ends of a table. And they just keep switching sides, avoiding any, fighting. And Burt Ward was actually kind of scared, too, thinking that Bruce Lee was actually going to hurt him or something. But yeah, that was pretty disappointing. Probably the most disappointed I was, especially being a kid. I was very disappointed.
I'd be scared too. I'm not fighting Bruce Lee fake. I'm not fighting, fighting Bruce Lee in a video game. I'm not fighting Bruce Lee anywhere.
He probably heard the stories that Bruce like hits for real, or it could be an accident and you get hit.
Yeah.
Burt Ward was still a kid at the time, so I can understand him being scared.
Like if you guys have doing those shadow punches and stuff like that, or that fight choreography, if you accidentally hit Bruce, like can you imagine Burt Ward's his reaction to something like that if he accidentally hit Bruce in the face?
He's not coming out of his trailer.
It's like, nah, chill, I quit, I'm okay.
Joe, do you remember when they would be climbing
The sides of the buildings, yeah.
people would pop out every once in a while?
Yeah, like celebrities of the time would pop out of the window every now and then.
Yeah.
There's a real cool YouTube video out there that shows like all the celebrity pop-ups in like one long like 15-minute.
Oh, really?
Yeah, strung together like they're climbing up, and the music they played like like when they're climbing up the house or climbing up the side of a building, like people would pop up like what's the guy's name?
Well, do you remember there was one where they're going up, and instead of that music, they have da-dun, 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 dun, da-dun, da-dun,
Oh God, they did?
Yeah, and then Lurch comes out.
Oh, the Addams Family comes out?
Yeah, they're like, go back to your harpsichord, we're unofficial.
Yeah. It's probably on that thing I'm telling you about. You should check it out. It's like 15 minutes long, and it has like all the celebrities that popped out over the years. Actually, it was only on for 3 years, but they had 120 episodes in those 3 years. So
yeah, so that's actually an example of good crossovers too. I mean, with all the cameo appearances that were they always surprises?
Yeah, it was just like it was like you said, cameos. They were just like they're climbing up the side of a building, which is the way they climbed looked like impossible. Like you wouldn't climb a building like that. But anyway, they would just pop out the window and they'd stop and have like a quick conversation with them, and then they close the window. I'm like, please. But yeah.
Cool. Johanna, what about you? I know you said you gave us some really good examples of good crossovers in music. You have any ones that you wish never any groups that you wish never came together?
Dear God in heaven, Paul McCartney and Michael Jackson. What the fuck was that about? Other than Come Together. I'm not talking about Come Together. Take Come Together out of your mind.
Say, and The Girl Is Mine. What's wrong with those songs?
Oh my God.
It's Johanna's opinion.
Oh, that's a good one. I used to really like that when I was a kid.
I will let Johanna express herself. I can't. It's blasphemous what she's just saying, but
I remember like getting. Okay, go ahead, Johanna.
I want to get Johanna's reasoning behind this.
Okay, look, two musical powerhouses, two geniuses, and they come up with That Doggone Girl Is Mine. Like, come on. You should see the covers too. They look like a bunch of pendejos. They're wearing like these color block sweaters, and like they got these weird grins on their faces. And you got to think that Paul McCartney was maybe fucking with Michael Jackson because Michael Jackson had bought the whole Beatles catalog, and he said something like, "Hey."
Wait a minute. No, that
you're like one when they came out.
You're getting ahead of yourself. That whole purchasing thing did not happen until years later, and Paul McCartney and Michael Jackson, that was on the Thriller album. And I remember back then you used to have albums and you would have all the cover art and everything inside there. And I remember around that album, because they would have the lyrics in it and everything. Albums are cool because they actually have like useful things in them. Do you remember
I know what albums are. Okay, I own vinyl. Okay.
Whatever, yeah.
I own CDs.
Whatever, but
I own CDs.
Whatever. My point is that they had like a little caricature of Paul McCartney and a little caricature of Michael Jackson, and they're like yanking this girl like one direction and the other direction. And I remember having an emotional response to that song, thinking, "Oh man, who's gonna win? Like who should get the girl?" And I was like really torn between Paul McCartney and Michael Jackson.
Yeah. Now, Johanna, if you would have said the Michael Jackson Mick Jagger song "State of Shock" from the Victory album, then you would have had a case. Yeah, I could see that.
That whole Jackson 5 reunion thing,
Yeah.
that was disappointing. You
Because
want to
there was
talk about
6 of them.
disappointing crossovers. That was a disappointing
Well,
crossover. I remember when that came out. That was a big deal,
well,
and
that
I was
wasn't
just like,
really
eh.
but that wasn't really a crossover. That was kind
That
of
was
just
a
a reunion.
reunion.
It was
Well,
a-
they had their own careers, I guess, right?
Yeah, they came back together. Well, Michael Jackson really pretty much had the career, and the rest of them like said, "Hey, let's get back together again." And they pretty much, like when they did the torture video, Michael Jackson wasn't even in the video. They put like a statue of him in the video, right? I mean, just to give the illusion that he was there. But yeah, I mean,
Although-
if you would have said "State of Shock," Johanna, I could have saw that. But "The Girl Is Mine" and "Say," no, I can't agree with that. But you have your reasons. I
So
respect.
I have to say though, if we're talking about Michael Jackson and crossovers, the Remember the Time video with like Iman and
Eddie
Eddie
Murphy.
Murphy and Shaq. No, Magic Johnson. I'm sorry.
Magic Johnson.
Not even Moby Shaq.
Shaq was still in college or
Yeah,
just barely out.
Magic Johnson. That was pretty freaking cool. That was like, I mean, do you guys remember when Michael Jackson videos were like events?
Yes.
They were like events,
Yes.
and they were really good.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, unfortunately, I can remember when Thriller premiered on Friday Night Videos. You had to stay up till midnight to see it. Yeah, that was a huge premiere, and that video was watched like a million times over that Christmas break in 1983, whatever it was.
Now, that counts as a crossover. So, like, oh, okay, so that's like two actors, like, was it Nat Cole and Natalie Cole doing that one
The
song?
duet, yeah. Well, they did Unforgettable.
That was good, and one of them was dead, so that was good.
Yeah.
But the other one, so I was gonna ask you, Malik. So, like, what about when artists come on, other artists, like, like in hip hop, they do it a lot. So, like the song "Monster," I love that song. That's a great song. But does that count as a crossover?
No, the song "Monster." You're talking about the Nicki Minaj song.
Well, and it's a Kanye West song, isn't it?
Well, Nicki Minaj.
Oh, Rick
Yeah.
Ross.
Yeah,
Nicki
It is a Kanye West song, but you're right. Nicki
Minaj.
Minaj like owns that song. Yeah.
Technically, it wouldn't be considered a crossover because of the fact that they're all hip hop artists. So a crossover in music really would be considered something like when Run DMC did "Walk This Way" with Aerosmith. Right?
Or what about that whole album? Oh man, what was it? It had the guy from Big Love, the guy from Weird Science, the guy from Twister. What's his name?
Bill Paxton.
Bill Paxton was in it. He ends up getting. Oh man, what happens in this movie? Does he end up getting lost and he ends up seeing like a crime or something, or? Joe, help me out. What
I'm trying to
movie
remember
was
what
it? It
movie
just
he
had
was
like
in.
it had like a ton of crossovers. It was like, Pantera and these guys, and I gotta look it up. I think Johanna knows. Yeah, it was just filled with crossovers. What the hell name? Go ahead, guys. I'm gonna find it right now. It's irritating me.
But Johanna, I would actually the one that jumped out to me right away when you said Michael Jackson was Mike. Remember the Michael Jackson Eddie Murphy? Eddie Murphy went into music, and I guess Michael Jackson was one of his best friends. And Eddie Murphy released a song called "What's Up with You" and Michael Jackson was on that track.
I haven't heard
If you've ever heard that song, I look. I realized that Eddie Murphy was trying to go. I don't know if he was trying to be serious or if he was trying to be funny.
I don't know. I mean, my girl likes to party all the time. That felt very serious.
Yeah, Party All the Time was serious.
Yeah.
Was he seriously
serious.
trying to do music? Like this is what he meant.
Potty all the
he
time.
was-
I seriously thought it was potty all the time for like the longest time.
That was a serious venture.
Was it? Okay. All right.
Yeah, no, it was definitely.
It may have turned out to be a joke, but I think it was a serious venture. And Party All the Time was not a bad movie. I mean, a bad song.
I like that song a lot, actually.
And you knew Eddie wanted to be a singer because he always used to find a reason to sing in his stand-ups. He'd like belt out a chorus of something or other, or imitate Stevie Wonder, or do something where he sang. And I guess he got goosed up. People told him, "Oh, you sound good. You sound good. Why don't you cut an album?" And he did. Bruce Willis cut an album too in the late '80s.
There's a lot of I don't remember, like I don't have a list, but I know that there's a lot of actors and actresses who like who are in bands, in their spare time, where they have like
Like Keanu
their own
Reeves,
little groups. Yeah, they have their own little groups that they're a part of, and
Yeah,
perform.
Jared Leto,
30 Seconds to Mars.
yeah,
I
Jared
like that.
Leto, Keanu Reeves, and there's a lot of other guys who play
Gary
instruments in bands. Yeah.
Gary Sinise has a band called the Lieutenant Dan Band, and they actually play at like army bases and stuff. And he's really big into raising money for the troops and meeting them. My brother actually met him really recently, which is I thought was just so cool. And he never like makes it this huge deal, so it was cool.
Willie Nelson was in a couple of movies.
That's right, he was.
Oh, he was in a lot of movies.
Well, like good ones. I remember he was
Yeah.
in a couple of good ones. And then Kenny Rogers too. Do you remember? He was in
Yeah.
a couple. Anyway, the movie is Trespass, and I was talking about the soundtrack.
Oh my God.
It's just like a ton of crossovers. It's like all crossovers. So you got like Public Enemy. Oh, let's see. You got where is it? Oh wait, maybe I have the wrong movie in my head. Oh man, I thought I knew it for sure.
The joy of free work, ladies and gentlemen. The joy of free work. Well,
I'm gonna figure this out.
while Lorenzo figures that out and looks it up, I got a few, and after we found out that Johanna hates Paul McCartney and Michael Jackson, our next part is actually going to be a really fun trivia game called 6 Degrees of Superheroes. So with so many superhero movies out right now, there's Avengers and Iron Man and Hulk and Spider-Man, and we have Black Panther and Ant-Man and all these movies coming out. There's bound to be the overlap of actors and actresses starring in these movies that have played either alongside or opposed to one another in other films. So in this portion, I'm going to use the name of the superheroes as I describe the plot of the movie that the actors have starred in together. So all you guys got the sample question, and everybody was able to look at that. Was that pretty sufficient for you? I just want to make sure before we start jumping in here that
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. So when you think you know the answer, just blurt it out. I know your voices, so I know who's who and who's saying what. Are we ready to go?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
All right. So here's number one. Alfred teaches Batman and Wolverine, who eventually battle to become the top.
Prestige.
All right,
I said it.
Johanna gets her first point. You guys keep track. You guys keep track of your own points.
Okay, I got five.
No, Johanna got one. Okay. Number two.
Do some count for more points than other
No,
ones?
they all count for 1 point. And we'll see who knows these crossovers better. Number two, the Human Torch races against time to save Vicky Vale. With a
Cellular.
little help. Joe wins it. Cellular.
Oh man,
Chris
I'm
Evans.
not gonna do very well in this.
Cellular starred Chris Evans, who was obviously the Human Torch, Kim Basinger, who played Vicky Vale in the Batman movie, and William H. Macy, who played the Shoveler in
Yeah, oh God, Mystery Men.
Street Man.
Wow, good call. Yeah.
I'm surprised you used the Human Torch instead of Captain America.
I didn't want to use Captain America.
Too obvious, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, number three. John Constantine quarterbacks a bunch of misfits led by Lex Luthor.
Oh, the oh shit! I got the movie right here. Hold on, I can see it. No. The oh my god. Oh god. He fucking scrapes shit off the bottom of boats. The with the Iron Man director in it, John Favreau.
The replacement.
You looked it up.
Lorenzo.
See, I was trying to play fair.
Yeah. No, I cheated.
The fact that Lorenzo admitted he cheated, I'm going to give him the points. Okay. So it's tied at 1. Everybody's got 1. All right, number 4. Nick Fury leads a special police unit whose members include Bullseye and Hawkeye.
SWAT.
Oh God, I had that one.
Yo, Samuel L. Jackson is Nick Fury, Colin Farrell, and Jeremy Renner. Number 5. Elektra magically grows up and attempts to reconnect with her childhood friend, the Hulk.
Whoa, what? Uh,
Um.
she magically
Oh
grows
yeah, yeah,
up.
yeah. Oh shit! What the hell's the name of that movie? It's the one where she turns back into a kid. The 30.
13 going on 30.
And
Oh,
Johanna did it correctly.
yeah. I
All
gave her
right.
all the clues.
So yeah, so
No
yeah,
comment.
and that is Jennifer Garner and Mark Ruffalo.
It's not
All
fair.
right.
I'm so bad with like actors and knowing who they are.
So
You
Johanna
guys
has
have an
two.
unfair advantage.
Johanna has two. Joe has three. Joe has two, and Lorenzo has one. Okay. Number 6. Lucius Fox grants the Riddler divine power.
Oh, Almighty.
Bruce Almighty. Bruce Almighty. I said it.
I
I'm
said
gonna.
Bob
I'm,
Almighty.
Evan,
it's Bob Almighty. And Joe wins is Bruce Almighty, starring Morgan Freeman and Jim Carrey. All right. Number 7. The Joker romances Catwoman after he's bitten by a werewolf.
Oh, what's the name of that movie? Oh,
10 Things I Hate About You.
no.
No, Joe, you are incorrect.
wait, can you repeat it again? It's the Joker romances.
Catwoman after he's been bitten by a werewolf. Joe, you are now out, so you can't answer.
Okay.
I know about Heath Ledger, and that I don't know what it
Ding ding
is.
ding, Lorenzo wins.
Woof. It's with
Wolf,
Jack
starring
Nicholson.
and Michelle Pfeiffer.
Plays a werewolf, and he turns into a dog at the end.
All right, so Joe's got 3, Lorenzo's got 2, Johanna's got 2. All right, number 8. Kitty Pryde is pregnant with the child of Scott Pilgrim.
Juno.
Oh, Judah.
I said it. Juno.
Much of the dismay of her father, J. Jonah Jameson.
Nice. Good call.
All right, Johanna 3, Joe 3, Lorenzo 2. Number 9. Daredevil works to regain his memory with the help of Poison Ivy and the resistance of Two-Face.
Memory.
Will you say it again?
Oh,
Daredevil
works to regain his memory with the help of Poison Ivy and the resistance of Two-Face.
Oh yeah. Oh shit. Oh god, I know this movie. This one they're riding around on the motorcycle. He reverse engineers this thing.
Oh, that one?
Shit.
Oh yeah.
The paycheck. The paycheck.
Paycheck. Good
All right,
job.
Joe wins. Joe 4.
Oh yeah, I forgot he lost his memory in that one.
Yeah.
Because that's what the whole thing was, right? You lose your memory for like 6 months or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
Joe 4, Johanna
totally wrong
3,
direction.
Lorenzo 2. All right. Number 10. The Green Hornet goes on the run with his pot dealer, Harry Osborn.
Pineapple Express.
Pineapple Express.
Joe 5,
Oh man.
Johanna 3, Lorenzo 2. All right, we got 2 more. I was hoping these last 2 would be bonus rounds, but Joe has clearly already won. So we'll just do the last 2. It's a free for all. Whoever wants to jump in. All right, number 11. Ghost Rider and Alan Quartermain break into prison.
The Rock.
The Rock.
Yeah, good job, Lorenzo. Starring Nicolas Cage and Sean Connery.
Yeah, he played Alan Quartermain, and I'm thinking Alan Quartermain, the old one, with Richard, whatever his name. Yeah, anyway, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, is he the guy from Game of Thrones?
Who?
The old Alan Quartermain.
No. I think the old Alan Quartermain was Richard Chamberlain. I think.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't think he was in there.
I'm like, I know I've seen that guy somewhere, and I can never.
Yeah, I forgot. What's Sean Connery played him in? What's the name of that movie? With all where they combined all the like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde and.
Gentleman.
Yeah, Extraordinary Gentleman, right?
Extraordinary Gentleman.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
I forgot he played it there.
Yeah, Johanna has some choice words to say about that. Okay.
The comic
All
book
right.
is excellent. I just want to defend the comic book in case people just think of that movie when they think of the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. That is a huge crossover, by the way. Literary crossover.
Absolutely.
Yes, it is.
And one of the ones that Johanna could have said was absolutely a piece of crap.
But the comic book is excellent. Alan Moore. Go
Yeah, I'm
on.
sure it is. I never read it, but that movie was horrible.
Comic
And
books
the
were
la-
good.
so we have one more, and you know what, I'll say the last one will be for 5 points. So whoever gets this last one technically can win the game altogether. So right now we have Joe at, what do you have, Joe? 5 or 6?
5.
Joe has 5, Lorenzo has 3, Johanna has 3. Yep. Yep. Okay. Number 12. After being betrayed and left for dead, a team, including Captain America, the comedian, and Heimdall, go after those who targeted them for assassination.
What?
The
Expendables?
Losers?
Oh, shit, I know what it is.
Joe wins, The Losers, starring Chris Evans, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, and Idris Elba.
Good job.
Good job, Joe. It was
Thank
good.
you,
I actually thought that one was difficult.
Jessica Alba's in that movie?
Yeah, he plays the he turns on them like in the middle of the movie or something like that. I can't remember. But Zoe Saldana's in it, so I was gonna see it. And I do own it.
All right, so our last crossover part is you guys, the agents, will create their own crossovers. I want you guys to take 2 properties that you would most like to see mashed together in an epic crossover event. Feel free to plot out the story of the crossover and how the characters would meet and interact with one another. Get a little crazy with it. Take it wherever you want to go with it. So I'm gonna start with Johanna with this one. Joe, for winning this, you get to go last.
Okay.
So
Oh,
Johanna, go right ahead.
I am so excited because I've been thinking about it all day. Um, so you see the A-Team from The Walking Dead walking through the forest until they get to this abandoned house that has, you can tell it's got like these 60s sort of style to it, and they're completely confused, but not confused enough to stop murking zombies. So they're murking the zombies all the way over, and they go into the house. They beat more zombies, and the house is completely abandoned, but it's intact, the shag carpeting at all and the sunken floor. So they go down the stairs and they see what looks like a lead-lined trapdoor on the floor, and they're like, looks like it's some sort of bomb shelter. So they open it up as delicately as they usually do things like this by blasting it open. And they walk down the stairs, and there's more shag carpeting, and they start hearing loungy music. The smell of gin is in the air. And when they come into the room, there is a man in an impeccable gray suit, surrounded by beautiful ladies, having a Manhattan. And he says, "Oh, hello there." And he invites them to come in, and he rolls his eyes with disdain that they're getting his shag carpet dirty. Gabriel starts crying, and Don Draper slaps him and says, "Stop acting like a girl." And then he kicks the black people out because that's how he is. The end.
so then what 2 properties are these? Walking Dead
And
and
Mad Men.
Mad Men.
That would be awesome, actually. I think that would be great.
I think it would be great. Don Draper would just be slapping everybody and telling them to stop crying like girls, and then macking on the ladies.
He wouldn't kick the black people out. That's not true. His secretary is black.
Okay, so maybe he would keep them, but he would slap Gabriel
Oh yeah,
and tell him to
no
stop
problem with that.
crying like a girl. Yeah.
Lorenzo, you're up next.
All right, so I'm going to start this, but I want to preface it, preface it by saying that I have not yet seen the final season of Sons of Anarchy. Now I'm up to the end of season 6, so
Okay.
I've seen season 6, which is incredible. The ending of season 6, it's like I don't know where they're going to go from here. So that said, the Sons of Anarchy are forced to get back into gun running due to the huge lawyer fees that they got and increase in California rent and property taxes. So they're forced to head to the gun capital of the world, Baltimore. So they cross over the United States and they start getting into gun trading over on the East Coast, and that's where they have to face off against McNutty, and and so it's the Wire versus the Sons of Anarchy, and I would be very interested to see who would come out on top in that battle. I was also thinking of a Walking Dead one. And it would be The Walking Dead. They finally get to Washington D.C. and they have to take on a surprisingly duplicitous zombie Kevin Spacey from the House of Cards. And then my final one is Boardwalk Empire meets Jersey Shore, where Pookie gets violently used and murdered under the boardwalk, or she gets put in an asylum where they just slowly dissect her to try to cure her being Pookie.
I would pay to see that one. That's one I would definitely pay to see. Oh my god. Oh man, Joe, I don't know how you're gonna top those.
I'm not gonna top that. Oh, so what I was thinking is, so the first thing that came to my mind was a Blade Twilight crossover. Is really what I would have what I really wanted to see
Yeah,
in the theaters. It never happened, but I think that would have been the most perfect crossover ever. Blade into Twilight. This way, the movies end like in 3 movies instead of 5, or whatever it was. But anyway, the one I want to talk about here has to do with Shield. Okay, so Shield is made aware that Moneypenny has stumbled upon some information that is very important to Homeland Security. So they go and they've sent the team, and they're going to kidnap Moneypenny. Then when a certain other person gets wind of this, he's ready to stop Shield at all costs. And of course that person would be MI6's own James Bond. So you got James Bond versus Shield, right? So obviously in all these kind of crossovers, they're going to fight in the beginning, right? So James Bond is going to go up against some of the best the Shield has to offer. He's going to probably hopefully he'll come out on top, and then they'll realize, hey, we're looking for the same people. We want to stop the same organization, and that could be Spectre and Hydra have teamed up together as well. And so Shield and Bond, MI6 are going to go after Hydra and Spectre. It'll be awesome. I would love to see it because I love Shield and I love James Bond. The two of them together would be pure magic.
Yeah, all of those properties coming together in the same show, man, that would be amazing.
Now, what James Bond would you have?
Yeah.
There's no doubt, and I'm going to get a lot of flack for this, but I want Craig. Definitely.
Over a young Sean Connery?
Yes.
Really?
I want Craig. Yeah. I want Daniel Craig.
Daniel Craig.
Daniel
The
Craig.
modern, more kick-assy.
He is awesome as James Bond. My original thought was I was going to combine Bourne versus Bond, but I decided to go against that. And I went with Shield and Bond. But yes, I am a huge I love Daniel Craig as James Bond ever since Casino Royale. I'm not gonna say he's better than Sean Connery. I mean, that's the classic answer. I can go up to a bunch of people. Hey, who's the best James Bond? Oh, Sean Connery. I'm like, hey, did you see You Only Live Twice? No, I didn't see that. Did you see it? No, I didn't see that. So it's just the classic answer that everybody gives. Tell me you've seen them all. Tell me this and that, and then come up with the right answer, or come up with your answer. But for me, it's Daniel Craig.
So Daniel Craig to you is the best Bond.
Yes, he's the Bond I love to see. I mean, I enjoyed Casino Royale that much. I would put that up against any Sean Connery film. And not to say those are bad. I mean, I like Sean Connery, but you know, it's just Daniel Craig is more intense. I mean, where Sean Connery is smooth and he gets the ladies and he's a smooth talker. You know, Daniel Craig is not gonna bother with that. Daniel Craig's version of James Bond does not bother. He still gets girls and everything, but he's an assassin first, and that's what he does. And then he gets information.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about it is that to me, he's just like not James Bond. You know, he's like some new character that isn't like really James Bond.
It's a new version of James Bond.
Yeah, it's a new version of James Bond. But in the past, like, they've had other James Bonds, and those James Bonds were all kind of like the same character. Where this James Bond, to me, is like a totally different character. You know what I mean?
It's a new version. It's a today's version of James Bond.
Mhm.
And I mean, I like it. I like it, and it's, everybody's gonna say, "Oh, I love Sean Connery." And there was a time when I grew up with Roger Moore. Really,
Mhm.
Roger Moore was James Bond for me. I had to go back and watch all the Sean Connery ones, right? So
I like that show Remington Steele, so I was pretty excited.
when Pierce Brosnan became James Bond, and he wasn't bad. He wasn't bad either.
And GoldenEye is like hands down one of the best video games ever.
I do love the opening scene in GoldenEye when he has to jump off the cliff and catch the plane. He catches the plane. I mean, James Bond started to get so ridiculous as far as like the stunts and all and everything.
That was a great scene. No, that was a really great opening scene. You gotta give. Yeah.
No, it was good.
And in the video game, it's just as good too.
Wasn't the video game more like a shoot 'em up game? Wasn't it like a first person shooter?
It was a first person shooter, but it had like the cutscenes and stuff. So then that was like, and then you actually get to jump into the, you do the skydive and you go into the airplane and then you bring the plane up. So you get to do that yourself.
Okay. Yeah, I never played it. Yeah.
You've never played it? You didn't have a 64?
I never played GoldenEye. Yeah, I did, but I never played GoldenEye. I didn't.
Oh man, you missed out.
I actually bought the.
Oh, I love GoldenEye.
The what? What'd you say, Yana?
I love GoldenEye.
The movie?
No, the game.
Oh, the game. Yeah, I never played it.
I used to go down to my friends' basements, and that's all we would do when I was in high school.
GoldenEye.
Yeah, it was some good times. Sorry, continue. I just heard the word GoldenEye. I'm like, ooh.
Yeah. The only James Bond game I ever tried to play was one that came out on the PS3 maybe like 3 or 4 years ago, where it was like a mismatch of all the James Bond movies, where you run missions from different movies.
Yeah.
And I only played it for it wasn't very well done. I didn't really like the graphics too much, and it was okay. I ended up returning it.
They had a GoldenEye for the Wii that was kind of fun, but nothing is ever gonna replace the classic GoldenEye.
Well,
64.
No, I agree with that. Well, I didn't get a chance to build out the entire thing, but I've always wanted my own one would be for John McClane to meet up with Jack Bauer. That needed to happen at some point in time. I need that combination to go and to happen, and for them to be on opposite sides of the fight, and then until they realize that they can't. Neither one of them can actually beat the other. Neither one of them will die. They won't die. Okay, I can shoot you, and you will not die for whatever reason. The other guy won't die. Until they realize that eventually, they're just gonna have to start working together because neither one of them can kill the other one.
It's funny that you said that because Malik, on my list here, the one I was going to choose, or one I had down here that I was going to talk about was Brian Mills and Jack Bauer.
Yeah, see, somewhere along those lines, these two ultra male characters who can kill everything but can't be killed, they need to meet up. We need to have a battle where they shoot each other's legs off. They're chopping off arms, and yet they won't die. So I need that. I need that scene to happen for me. Well, that's about all we have for tonight. I want to thank the guys once again for jumping in on this topic and really giving it your all. We got some really, really great ideas coming out of it, and some really good conversation about really learning that Johanna really, really doesn't like The Girl Is Mine. I am really, really that really, really shocked me. But anyway, I'm
Yeah,
not
I'm
gonna.
surprised that she likes the Beatles too, right? You like the Beatles. We established that a couple of shows ago that you like the Beatles. You don't like a Beatle teaming up with Michael Jackson.
Just
Wait till
because I like chocolate and I like tuna doesn't mean I want them together.
So is it just The Girl Is Mine or Say 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 as well?
Yeah, I don't. I'm on the fence about Say Say Say. I like Come Together. I mean, Come Together is a classic, but
Yeah, but he did that. That wasn't a crossover. He did that
I
alone.
don't like. You know what? I don't like the video for Say 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 where they're like shaving each other and
It's a vaudeville video. They're like clowns.
and then like they're both like trying to get with Linda McCartney. I don't know what's going on in that video. But I'm not sure I like it. I don't think I like it. It's chocolate and tuna.
Did you
Chocolate
like
and-
Paul McCartney and Stevie Wonder?
I don't think I've heard Ebony and Ivory.
What?
Well, let's cut off on that.
I'll listen to it after the podcast. I promise.
I have a feeling we're starting a whole new episode really soon. It's gonna force Johanna to do about 20 hours of pre-work.
Do you remember Eddie Murphy and Joe Piscopo, Joe, doing?
Yeah, when they did it on Saturday Night Live.
That was great. That was great.
Where Joe Piscopo was Frank Sinatra.
Frank Sinatra, yeah.
Yeah.
So if you get a chance, go check out some of our crossovers, some of the things that we talked about on this show. Maybe we'll be crossing overs with another podcast at some point in time and do our own podcast crossover. We'll never know. Anyway, you can check us out at agentsofhelm.com. Email us at agentsofhelm@gmail.com. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, and all the other social network sites. We're here, we're around, we're available. Send us a comment. Tell us what you think about the show, and we'll be sure to give you a response. So without further ado, for Johanna, Joe, and Lorenzo, I am Malik. We are the Agents of Helm. Have a great night. Enjoy your evenings, and we'll catch you next week. Peace out.